Only 20 turned in, and still students have not joined. What is the problem with all the students? How many times you have to keep reminding? And you people are not attaching any see, there is no attachment. So Abdur Rahman, acha, from anyone from this batch who has submitted, can they just quickly tell me yes, no in the chat box? Yes, acha, dale already. Shivam Gupta, Sheikh Fez. Shivam Gupta, Sheikh Fez. Rohit का है, attachment is there. शिवम गुप्ताज है. और कौन बोला? राहुल यादव. राहुल यादव, अनस इमाम 62. Can't see. राहुल कहाँ सबमिट किया आपने? Which experiment you're talking about? Rahul, you can unmute. What happened here? Here I'm asking you some questions. Rahul, are you there?
Miss, experiment number. Yes,
bolo.
miss. Miss, experiment number 1 I submitted.
But where? See, I cannot see your name. Can you see your name? You just tell me whether you can see your name.
No, miss.
How can you say you have submitted?
No, miss.
All these are missing assignments.
Miss, but I turned in.
Rahul Yadav, see, acha, it is graded. Wait.
Yes, miss, is there.
अच्छा, 3 are graded ना. So अंसारी उजैर का graded है and आपका graded है. Fine. तो 3 graded है already. Okay. What about others? और कौन है? Sheikh Fez. I am confused how to.
Hello, ma'am.
बोलो.
Ma'am, mine is not showing, ma'am. I also submitted.
So see, you get. Can anybody just share their screen? I'll just stop here. Anybody who can just open their Google Classroom, someone who is on laptop. कौन करेगा? I'm not shouting or anything. I just want to tell him because I don't know how the students are able to see that assignment. Can anybody just share? Fez, Shivam, कौन है यहाँ पे? क्यों इतना क्या डरते?
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, in class there is a option that we should have to submit attach. मतलब ma'am classroom में option नीचे handed है और एक वहाँ पे Google form भी है ma'am. तो फिर ma'am किस submit करना है?
तो Google form 1 मिनट. तो इसलिए तो मैंने बोला ना कि मुझे आप दिखाओ.
Ma'am, may I share?
Yes, please do that.
Ma'am, permission.
Permission नहीं? आज इन्होंने ना.
Host has disabled screen sharing.
हाँ, अभी आप ट्राई करो.
Yes, ma'am.
CWM का आप लैब का ओपन कर दो. CSL वाला. You have already submitted or not submitted?
Submitted, ma'am.
So something which you have not submitted, just open that. You submitted both the experiments?
No, ma'am, only one.
हाँ, तो experiment 2 को open. नहीं, this is अच्छा इसमें दिया नहीं है क्या write up?
Ma'am, there is no link.
अच्छा, so go to this one only ना, write up submission for experiment number 1. हाँ, इस पे जाओ, Google form पे जाओ. अच्छा, you have already submitted. Somebody who has not submitted. See, यहाँ पे 2 options है ना. एक है turned in करके आता है यहाँ पे, attach करके.
Ma'am, yes, यहाँ पर आता है
ना. और actually यहाँ पे भी आपको upload करना है and दोनों जगह पे you have to upload.
Okay? We have to upload on Google form as well and your also attachment.
Yes. Okay, so
Okay.
that I can directly see in that जो turned it का आता है ना, that you have submitted. इसलिए वहाँ पे काफी लोग का no
So
attachment.
ma'am, now we have to unsubmit, right? To
You
upload it again.
yes. Click unsubmit and फिर से Google form पे भी इस पे इसका benefit ये होता है कि when we can you can close this phase that we can directly see and click there and see your assignment. That's why we are asking you to attach in both the places. क्योंकि Google form में करते तो वो directly आपका Google form में जाता है. Then we have to open Google form and do the correction. इसका एक attach का ये है कि I can see there itself and grade your assignment. Okay, so please do the needful. दोनों इसमें करना है. Otherwise वो थोड़ा missing दिखता है तो फिर पता नहीं चलता किसने किया किसने किया. Right? चलो तो move on to the today's experiment. Okay, so next experiment is, I think I have not added here. So I'll just show you. Now next experiment is implementation of OLAP operations. Though we have not done this part, but today in the lecture we will go through this part. So mostly theoretical concept we will cover. So I will also explain you now what is there. So implementation of OLAP operation is basically what we did till so far is first we identified a case study. Then from that case study, what we observed is what are the things that I will require as dimensions and fact tables. So whatever is present in your OLTP system, right? From that OLTP systems, you identified that these are the things that will be my dimensions and facts, and you created, you just, given a layout. So apne IPT banaya, apne star schema ke through dikhaya that how you want these tables to be connected. That we did in first experiment. In second experiment, we actually implemented that. So we actually implemented the table. Now problem with us is we don't have a OLTP proper OLTP system from where we can fetch the information. तो हमने हमारा ही एक relational tables बना के रख दिए. So we created fact tables, we created dimension tables, and we populated all those things. Otherwise, in proper business process, what we do, we generally extract the information and we populate these tables. So there are various ways. So ETL method होता है जिससे वो करते हैं. Now the very first thing, I'll just show you some videos today to how we perform ETL. So 2-3 examples how exactly ETL is performed. And there is again, it's a big process. We cannot perform it in the practical, but you should know how to do it in SQL. Okay. So we will see that. And then now what we are doing is once you have the relational tables and everything, the major task is once you have a data warehouse, now you want to operate on that data warehouse. That means you want to perform analysis on that data warehouse, which is possible using OLAP operations. So once you have a data warehouse, now you're performing OLAP operations to be performed on your data warehouse. ठीक है, तो ये कौन से OLAP operations है? Slice, dice, roll up, drill down, and pivot table, pivot operations basically. तो ये क्या है? And this is specifically what we have done in experiment number 1, 2. On that tables only we are going to perform. So coming back to the theory part, now OLAP operations are generally slice, dice, roll up, drill down, and pivot. Okay, so what this OLAP operation is all about is once your data is present in data warehouse in the repository, we perform operations to get a multidimensional view. So basically डेटा है बट नॉर्मल जो हम जैसे एनालिसिस करते हैं इसमें हमको मल्टी डायमेंशनल व्यू चाहिए. मल्टी डायमेंशनल व्यू मीन्स व्हाट? I want to analyze my fact across various dimensions. So I want to have a multi-dimensional view. And for that matter, we need to have on OLAP processing on that data, right? So OLAP processing, which is based on multi-dimensional data model, because हम जो हमारा data warehouse है, that is actually giving me a multi-dimensional view for my data. Okay, so it will help the managers, analysts to get an insight of the information through fast, consistent, and interactive access to information. So जब हमें we want to fetch any information, so basically we perform analysis on this data. So we will see both the ways. हमने जो tables create किए हैं, I will show you the queries on that those tables also, that how you can perform analysis on that, and I will show you one experiment also in which I'll show you that how we actually use multidimensional queries to access the database. Okay, so this is all theory that you need to write in your experiment. These are main operations that I'm going to show you: roll up, drill down, slice and dice, and pivot. Okay, now roll up, basically what it means is that once you have the data with you, now you want to perform operations on that data. Okay, so roll up is, name itself suggests that you are going one level up. Okay, so roll up means you are going one level up, which means that you are performing aggregation on a data cube in the following manners. How? By climbing up the concept hierarchy or by the dimension reduction. Okay, so just let one. Okay. So here, by climbing up concept hierarchy means, for example, I am working in a time dimension, and my time dimension has various hierarchies, like it has year information, it has quarter information, it has month information, it has week information, and then it has day information. Okay, so let's say I'm working on a level of months. That means I am performing analysis on month, right? So roll up, what it will do, it will give you the aggregation at quarter level. So जो आपको month wise दिख रहा है, आप उसको roll up करके आप aggregate करते हो. So whatever you are getting as month wise, now you will be getting as quarter wise. So first 3 months will be summed up to give you the quarter value. Like 3 months will be summed up to give you quarter value in this. Okay, so this is what we do in roll up information. So take this example. This is one cube which we can generate. तो जब आपने data warehouse बना दिया तो आपको करना क्या, आपको cubes generate करनी. Cubes means you have to get a multidimensional view for your data. So you actually create a cube in Visual Studio. तो वो देखेंगे हम कैसे करते हैं. Okay. Now you can see here. This is one cube which I have generated. हमारे पास क्या था? Let's say location है, मैंने select किया था. एक product या items करके मेरे पास एक dimension table था, एक time dimension table था. So just to make you revise, okay, so if I'll just revise the concept. हमने क्या किया था कि अगर dimension table है मेरे पास, तो क्या क्या dimension table मैंने लिए थे. एक लिया था मैंने product dimension table, then एक लिया था मैंने location, and एक लिया था मैंने time dimension. Right? These were my dimension tables. Okay. Second was, there was a fact table, right? And in fact table, what we have is we have IDs of this. So product के लिए मेरे पास product ID था. Then let's say product name. Then let's say product brand. ये सारी चीजें थी. Similarly, location के लिए again I have location ID, location name, address one, जो भी address देना है, ठीक है. And then similarly time का, as I said, it has year, quarter, month, then week and day. Okay, so in this way we had all these dimension tables. And then fact table में हमारे पास ये की थी, यहाँ पे की नहीं डाला मैंने, which is time ID. So time ID, right? So आपके fact table में क्या क्या था? Product ID, then we had location ID, and then we had time ID. Okay, so ये हमारे पास already है. And इसका हमने schema बनाया था. तो because your fact table is going to come connected with all these 3 tables, right? So ये एक table है मेरे पास, then ये दूसरा table है मेरे पास, और ये तीसरा table है मेरे पास. Fine. So अब हमें यहाँ क्या करना है? When we say we have to create a cube, so already I have 3 dimensions. So when I have 3 dimensions, I can use the concept of 3D cube, where I can just visualize these 3 dimensions in terms of a cube. Okay, so you can take any one dimension, let's say product. So product will become this dimension. Okay, then the time will become this dimension, and ये जो है x axis, that will become, let's say, location. Okay, now in time, in product, let's say I have 3 products. So this is P1, this is P2, this is P3, or let's say 4 products. So P4. Okay, so ये ऐसे हो गया यहाँ पे. Okay, same. Okay, now talking about location, let's say I have 3 locations, L1, L2, L3. So then I will be having 3 locations. Okay, and time, let's say time 1, time 2, time 3, and time 4. So then I have total 4 time locations. So this is how we are actually visualizing. Though it is not easy, we cannot actually see this cube in Visual Studio or SQL, but you have to visualize that if it is a 3D cube, how it will be seen on the, if conceptually how it will be seen. Now any value. So मुझे fact table में, let's say, और क्या चीजें हैं मेरे fact table में. So if I want to have let's say unit quantity. okay, or let's say total price, total sales, right? So this is what I want. So I want total sale. तो ये total sale कहाँ पे आएगा अभी? तो total sale आपका इस सेल में आएगी वो वैल्यू. So if I am saying total sale is 2000 rupees, that means you can imagine that you can just conceptualize this part is that T1, that means in time T1, product P1 in location L1, because this first is location L1. So this is this part now. So location L1, the total sale for that particular product, for product P1, it was 2000. Similarly, for time T2, for the same product, it was, let's say, 3000, then 4000, then 5000, in this way. Same you can go up. And so all this value, अब exam में आपको ये cube actually बनाना पड़ता है. In exam, they will give you a problem, they will ask you to perform OLAP operation on that problem, right? So जैसे मैंने total sales का आपको ये problem दे दिया. What you need to know, you need to perform OLAP operation. तो आपको ये cube बनाना पड़ेगा. And you can just take some imaginary values. आप कुछ भी values ले लो यहाँ पे to show that okay, this is nothing but the facts that I want to analyze. Okay? So this is what the cube is. Now, in the same way, if I want to, so taking into consideration this problem, okay? So this is one OLAP operation that we want to study, in which these are the items. So this is a type talking about products. This is the time dimension where we are talking about, let's say, quarters. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. And then there is a location, this where I'm talking about two countries, USA and Canada, right? And this is one imaginary value. Now, first operation, which is about roll up. Roll up, what it does, it will perform the aggregate on any of the dimensions. So basically what it is doing is it is performing aggregation on your data cubes, right? So yeah, either you climb up to up a concept hierarchy for a dimension, तो किसी एक dimension के लिए आप एक level up जा रहे हो, या or you are performing dimension reduction. Dimension reduction is again very important concept in data mining and data warehouse, where you actually don't want to use too many dimensions or too many values for the dimension. In that case, you perform dimension reductionality. Okay. So यहाँ पे, for example, I don't want to see this quarter wise. So what we will do, we sorry, यहाँ पे किस पे किया है उन्होंने? Okay. Now you can see roll up on location from cities to countries. That means I am okay, sorry, this is actually, it should be drilled down, so मैं उल्टा बता रही हूँ. Okay, just come to this part. So this is my actual cube in which I have items. These are the quarter values and these are the cities. So roll up, what it does, it is taking any one dimension. So let's say I'm talking about cities. तो वो cities पे क्या कर रहा है? वो cities पे roll up कर रहा है, aggregate form कर रहा है. That means rather than looking for cities, I am going to roll up on the location where I will be checking for the country wise total sales. तो यहाँ पे country wise, so for example these two cities and these two cities, according to that they will be merged and उनका value मुझे यहाँ पे मिलेगा. So you can see here those cities have been rolled up or aggregated to their respective countries. So this is what the roll up operation है. तो आपको दिखाना पड़ेगा यहाँ पे जो भी वैल्यू लेके, फॉर एग्जांपल ये दो सिटीज यूएसए से बिलोंग करे, तो आपको ये दो वैल्यूज ऐड होके जो आपको नेक्स्ट क्यूब मिलेगा, दैट विल बी नथिंग बट द एग्रीगेटेड वैल्यू. तो यहाँ पे अगर मैं कोई और वैल्यू डालती हूँ यहाँ पे लेट्स से, तो ये दोनों ऐड होके मुझे यहाँ पे कनाडा की वैल्यू मिलेगी, which is say 1000. So in this way you are showing the roll up operation. This making of this cube is very important exam point of view. ये diagram as it is आपको बताना पड़ेगा if you are showing roll up operation. Okay, so what we did in roll up is taking any particular dimension, we perform aggregate on the concept hierarchy of that dimension. Okay, so we are performing aggregate on the conceptual hierarchy of the dimension. This is a concept which I have put in the hierarchy, so I'm just performing hierarchy on that dimension. Okay, or in simple way we perform dimension reductionality. Okay, so this is one cube. तो ये आपको दिखाना है and इसका जो है answer, it is nothing but this part. Okay, ये write up मैं आपको दे दूंगी, you can just refer this write up. So roll up is performed by climbing up the concept hierarchy for the dimensions. This is for here. I can climb up from city to street. So if let's say in my cube I have street-wise information, I can roll up that to city-wise. Then city-wise information can be rolled up to province, or province-wise information can be rolled up to country. So any level you can select and you can simply aggregate your values to that particular hierarchy. On rolling up, the data is aggregated by ascending the location hierarchy from level of city to level of country. So here for this example, we are ascending in that direction. Data is grouped into cities rather than countries, and roll up is performed. One or more dimensions from the data cubes are removed. Basically removed means यहाँ पे अगर आप देखो तो dimension मेरा cities चला गया है. Now other dimension in that particular dimension cities is not there. तो आपका लोकेशन आ गया एंड लोकेशन में क्या होगा नंबर ऑफ रोज विल बी रिड्यूस्ड. जैसे यहाँ पे अगर नंबर ऑफ सिटीज मेरे 4 थे यहाँ पे यू कैन सी नंबर ऑफ सिटीज हैज बीन रिड्यूस्ड, तो वो कम हो जाता है. ठीक है. सो दिस इज व्हाट अबाउट रोल अप. नाउ सेकंड सिमिलर टू दैट और द जस्ट रिवर्स ऑफ दैट विल बी ड्रिल डाउन. नाउ व्हाट इज ड्रिल डाउन ऑपरेशन इज इट इज रिवर्स ऑफ द रोल अप ऑपरेशन and it can be performed using stepping down the concept hierarchy. So where you come down from that hierarchy, it is nothing but drill down. That means you are going in more detail. You are going in more detail. Introducing a new dimension. You are introducing a new dimension value. So for example, मुझे product में cities need cities की जगह भी street numbers चाहिए. Okay. So this is सेम यू कैन शो द सेम क्यूब. आप उसको रिवर्स में दिखाते हो तो यहाँ पे मेरे पास सिटी का क्यूब है, मैंने इसको रोल अप. नाउ दिस इज अ डिफरेंट एग्जांपल. सो यू कैन सी हियर ड्रिल डाउन ऑन टाइम. So in this cube, I had information related to the quarter values, right? So यहाँ पे आपके पास quarter values information है. If you perform drill down on this time dimension, so you're telling the computer that I don't want quarter wise, I want month wise. So that is nothing but drill wise information. So you can see the same cube has been changed, new dimensions has been added, and you can see that now I can verify, I can analyze my report in terms of the months, not by the quarter values. Okay, so this is what the drill down operation. So what it does, it steps down the concept hierarchy. So from day you can go to month, you can go to quarter, you can, sorry, this should be in reverse. You are drilling down. Okay, so from year you are going to quarter, you are going to month, and you are then going to day. Sir, practical में हो सर. Okay, sorry. So this is what we are doing. We are coming down to the concept hierarchy, and on drilling down, the time dimension is descended from the level of quarters to level of month. And when we perform drill down, one or more dimensions from the data cubes are added. So you are again adding some more dimensions to your database. Okay. Now next is till this part any doubt, we are going to see this example also. We are going to perform it on the cube that the data warehouse that we have created. Any doubt so far? Some new students have joined who were
No,
not
ma'am.
there initially.
No, ma'am, no doubts. '69. When did you join for the practical? Kunal Shinde. What time did you join? What is your roll number? Kunal Shinde, what is your roll number?
54.
54. When did you join for the practical?
11:15.
No, that time I was taking the attendance only. You are not there. And next time when you join, put a roll number in front of your name so that I can verify. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Okay. Now next time just be on time. Okay. Drill down is done. Now performing slice operations. Next is slice operation. Now in slice operation, what we do, it's like given a cube. So this is my cube now. So given a cube, now slice what it does, it selects one particular dimension from a given cube and it provides a new subcube. So whatever cube you are having, you can get a part of that subcube from by performing slice operation. analysis. Okay, so you're selecting a particular dimension and you're creating a subcube out of that. अभी तक subcube नहीं बनाया था, we were only changing the original cube. But यहाँ पे क्या होगा? We are creating a subcube, means you are working on any particular dimension, and you are taking or you are slicing that complete dimension. For example, यहाँ पे, if I talk about this Q1 only, so I am working in time dimension. So I want slices of time dimension. So for example, I want only Q1. So for Q1 quarter, I want to analyze all the items and all the cities. So in that case, मैं इसको slice करूँगी, right? So if you can visualize that cube, तो मैं ऊपर का एक जो layer है उसी को cut कर दूँगी, right? So this is what I'm getting. Similarly, if I only want to have Q2, so मैं ये से बीच का वाला portion slice करके ले लूँगी, right? So that is nothing but slice where you are selecting a particular dimension for the analysis part. Okay, so यहाँ पे, for example, here I am performing slice on time dimension where I want to check only for quarter one. So slice for time is equals to quarter one. So you can see here, for that quarter one only, I'll be getting the report in 2D part because already I selected one dimension permanently. तो permanent इसमें क्या हो रहा है? Permanent means जब मैं slice operation कर रही हूँ. So this result itself is showing that this is for Q1. So what it is showing that in Q1, for Q1 quarter, these are the items and this in this cities it was sold and these were the numbers. I have given just for the reference some numbers. You can give some imaginary numbers in all the sales. That is totally up to you. So when you show for aggregation or drilling down, तो आप वो values को थोड़ा दिखा सकते हो कि कैसे split हो रहे क्या हो रहे. Okay? So this is what I'm getting for. Same you can perform for Q2, Q3. Also you can have any other dimension. For example, I only want to know in this particular city what is the status for the sale of that particular item or all the items. So I'll just perform slice on this particular part. इतना इतने पे slice perform करूंगी and इतना सिर्फ इतना मुझे मिल जाएगा. Now this is nothing but the information for the quarters, for each quarter how these particular items are performed, right? So this is only giving me for that particular city. So this is nothing but slice operation. Now similar to dice, we have similar to slice, we have next operation which is called as dice operation. Okay, now dice and slice में difference क्या है? The way slice gives us the subcube, dice also gives us the subcube. The difference is slice works only on one dimension. So you can select a particular dimension and then you can work on that to get the slice. Here dice can be used to select two or more dimensions from a given cube and then it provides a new subcube. तो आपको नया subcube generate करना है तो वो दो dimensions or more than two dimensions are allowed in dice function. Okay, so dice functionality में यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? You can see here. So same cube if we take, so here I only want to see, for example, here, this is my main cube. So I only want to check for quarter one and quarter two for the cities, these two cities, right? तो यहाँ पे मुझे सिर्फ इतना slice करके मिलेगा, right? That means I am only focused on these values. Okay, so this is like a dice operation where you are focusing on two dimensions and then you are getting the result out of that. So coming back to this, here you can see I'm only getting Q1, Q2 and this. So you are writing the dice for location. So here I'm only giving the conditions that for dice operation, if I want this location dimension to take, so what I want for that location dimension, so let's say I want two cities and for time I want two quarters and therefore, and even for that matter, here it has chosen three dimensions. So for item also I have chosen two items, right? So for each dimension, I'm only choosing two values and across that I will be getting the this. Okay, so this is what the dice operation. And the last one, which is pivot or isko rotate bhi bolte, so there is other word also, pivot or rotate. What it does is it performs the rotation. Okay, now what kind of rotation? So it rotates the data axis in a view to in order to provide an alternative presentation of the data. For example, given this part, right? जब मैंने slice किया था तो मुझे ये information मिला जिसमें the cities are in rows and the item names are in the columns. So after performing this, what you can do is pivot, you can perform pivot operations. So there is a pivot function in SQL which we can apply on this. So once you get the slice, you can apply the pivot operation on that, where you can interchange the numbers. So sometimes I want to analyze in both the ways. So I don't want to see that how in the cities, how these items have performed, right? So in Chicago, mobile was sold for 2605, total 605 numbers were sold for mobile, then modem for security. If I change this, the concept changes, because here I am actually checking in terms of mobiles, that how much mobile was sold in all the 4 cities. I can have this aggregation in that way, or I can show Chicago wise. So agar aap rows wise agar segregate karte, so you can see that for each item you can get the aggregated value. यहाँ पे आपको city wise मिल रहा था, यहाँ पे आपको item wise information मिलेगा. So this is what pivot operation, and all these are nothing but the OLAP operations for your data warehouse or your multi-dimensional queue. So first you create a data warehouse, then you create cubes from the data warehouse, which you can further take for the analysis part. So if you remember I had told you this thing, that only making a data warehouse will not be of any use until and unless you don't know how to use it. And for that purpose, we have OLAP operations. तो आप multi-dimensional view create करते हो, इसके cubes create करते हो, and then from those cubes you perform some kind of analysis. Okay, this much part is clear. How many operations are there? Can anybody repeat for me?
Roll up, drill
5.
down.
Wait. Yes. Just a second. Yes, Kunal.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. How many operations we have seen?
Roll up, slice, dice, and pivot.
Hmm.
Mm, and
Yes, Rahula.
Private.
Wait.
Yes, ma'am.
What time did you join for the practical?
11, 7, 11, 8.
Huh?
11, 7, 11, 8 somewhere.
No, you were not there. I have specifically have written all the names. 11:5, 11:7. I myself checked the names.
I'm तो हो सकता है 11, 10 तक का हो सकता
Hardly 12 students were there. Did you attend last lecture, last practical?
है. Yes, ma'am. I'm there in all the practicals.
No. And where is your roll number? Where is your roll number in front of your name? How will I identify?
Sorry, ma'am. वो
What is your roll number, Tasni?
70.
70. No, you were not there in the last practical also. I can see here.
Ma'am, I haven't bunked any lecture. Okay.
We have the attendance. We are again and again telling you, I don't know about other teachers. I have everything on my notebook. I can compare your today's attendance with the last attendance. So all the attendance is in front of me, and I'm only marking attendance in the beginning and in the last. So those who are there for both the times, then they will be marked. And which may I'll keep checking these numbers. Now I already written these numbers. Now there is nowhere your name is there. Okay, so please make sure that next time you join on time, so that I can keep track of your attendance.
Sure, ma'am. ठीक है. Sorry.
Yes, Tasneem, bolo. What are the operations?
And there is slice, roll up, dice, and pivot.
So total 5. What happens in slice operation?
Slice के अंदर we can put time quarters and location and get
No,
one.
that is related to that problem. What generally slice operation does?
What generally, ma'am, वो एक जगह से हम लोगों को एक specific row या column निकाल
The
के
definition बताया ना? Who will tell me the definition? Who knows the definition?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, Ved, bolo.
Yes, ma'am. Slice gives us a subcube of only one dimension,
Yes.
whereas dice give us subcube of 2 or more dimensions.
Yes, 2 or more. So you can generate subcube from 2 or more dimensions in dice operation. Slice is only used to generate a subcube with 1 dimension. Okay, so slice and dice. और ये एग्जाम में आराम से 10 मार्क के लिए क्वेश्चन आता है, theoretical question आएगा. They will give you a problem statement. They will ask you to write this. Yes, we are going to perform practical. So I'm going to show you that also. So now coming back to our experiment. So all of you need to understand how we will generate the queries. I'm giving you for the problem case study which I have done. So if you want, you can try this also. Already what we did is we have already created tables in our first experiment and second experiment, right? So for example, here I had already declared this sales table. So I'll just show you here. Okay, so in my in server instance, I have already connected these databases. So there is a sales database which I had created in experiment number 2 using SQL queries, and these were the tables present in my system, right? So this is a fact table, then location, product, and time, and we added certain information into that. Okay, so now once this is done, that means these tables are there. So let's say, for example, this is my fact table. So we know fact table is nothing but all the transactions that will be shown in your fact table. So for example, product 1 in time 1 dimension, for the location ID, the total number of units sold were 400 and the total sale was 80,000. So this is how it is giving me information. So from your OLTP systems, you have fetched that information. So let's talk about your transaction table. So from transaction table, you fetched the information, you populated your fact table. So आपका as it is यहाँ पे information आ गया. Now second is about the product table. So in your OLTP system, you have information about the product. So from product table, you can get the information and you can load it here. So ये आपका ये information आ गया. Then for location, I'm getting the information for location and time dimension, right? तो ये हमने tables create कर ले. Now we will go through the queries, or we will see that how these queries can be executed. So for first, let's talk about the slice operation, or I'll just show you here. Now here we are only working on SQL queries for this operation. So we'll simply write some queries, and then I will actually show that once we create a multidimensional view using Visual Studio, how we can write the MDX query also. So I'll also show you MDX queries, but here for the practical purpose, you can go with the simple statement. So first, just make sure that whichever database you are working on, that is in use. You can see here it is written master. So either I will select that sales data here, or if not, then I will just write the statement to make sure that I am working on that database. Okay, so it is executed. Now the very first is the slice operation, right? So slice operation is where, I'll have to check. Yes, it is a slice operation. So for this particular fact table, you can see here, I just want to see that for the product. Now here, actually for practical purpose, I did not add any other items. So I only have added rice items. So I'll be getting only for that. In your tables, whatever items you have added in your fact table, which is coming from your transaction table as it is. So you can perform query on that. So for example, here for slice operation, what I want is, I want to select the product name. So I want to know the product name and I want to fetch the total sales. Now you can see here that in your table, in your fact table, right? We don't have actually product name, right? So in your fact table, we have the total sales. I want to fetch this total sales, but I want to fetch the name of the product. So here in my fact table, I have only one. So I'm going to use one table, that is product table. So one dimension I am choosing for my for slicing operation, that is product, and under that product I want to choose rice as the option. Okay, so rice मेरे पास अभी ये सारी rice की ये है तो मुझे मिल जाएंगे सारे as it is. So what I am saying, I am selecting total sales for product name called as rice. But here you can see.
Well, it's definitely not legal to distract Todd with, say, a
क्या
bounty
सुन
video.
रहे हैं Ali? What are you watching?
No, ma'am. पीछे चल रहा है. मैं हट रहा हूँ यहाँ से.
Mute करो, ठीक है? Okay, so now try to understand. I want the total sales for the product name called rice. Okay, so I want to fetch this and I want to display that. But because in my fact table, we don't have the information of product name, so I have to go to perform a join with the product table where I have to search for that product name, that is rice. So you can see a product name rice, and here I can see that it is 1. right? So for product name rice, the ID is 1. That means in my fact table, whichever IDs are 1, I have to fetch them and I have to display that total sales. Okay, so this is what I'm writing here, that I want to select product name and the total sales from the fact table, right? I want to select product name and total sales from the fact table, but because it is not directly available in the fact table, so we perform join operations. So we know in database we have learned about join operation. So here I am performing inner join, where I will check that product in my product table, right? So I am performing join on my product table because product name मुझे product table से मिलने वाला है, ठीक है? So I am fetching fact table which will be performed join operation with the product table on. तो join हमको एक common column बताना पड़ता है join operation के लिए, if you remember whatever you have studied in database. So we are providing a common column between these two tables on basis of which I'm going to join these, right? So कौन सा table है वो, which is nothing but product ID. So यहाँ पे जो भी product IDs है उसमें से जिसका भी matching होता है that will be taken for the join operation. तो यहाँ पे मुझे करना क्या है, I have to perform join on fact sales product ID with product ID of this. That means जो भी common columns है दो table में. So यहाँ पे for example, just I'll not repeat again and again there. So this is what the product ID in my fact table, right? And in my product table, there is a product ID. So I want to perform join of these two tables on the basis of product ID, right? So product ID के basis पे ये दोनों table join होंगे. That means I will be getting a combined table with product ID which is present in both the tables, and इसकी information मुझे यहाँ पे मिलेगी. The only difference is I have put a condition over here. What condition I am putting? That I want to have the product name as rice. That means only check those entries where the product ID that you are selecting from the product table, that is nothing but rice. Okay, so let's try to execute this. So here, select product name total sales from fact table, perform inner join with the product table because I want to fetch the product name. And how we'll perform the join operation? The fact sales product ID will be compared with the product ID of product table and where your product name is rice. So let's try to execute this. So you can see here, it will show me the product name. What is the product name? Because it has selected only those columns which has product ID as 1 as rice, and it has fetched that information and it is showing me the information of this. So you can see it is same because I have not populated with very large values. So this is what information I think I have. Let me just see if I can. Okay, because in my table there are only entries for rice, so it is showing me entries. So all this will be changed to that particular dimension which I was talking about. So I want product name to be given. So now you can see once I execute this, everything is gone. The analysis which I'm getting is only for the product name and the sales. Okay, so this is kind of a slice operation which I'm doing on my normal database. अभी तक हमने multi-dimension view के हिसाब से नहीं देखा है. Now we are seeing simple one. Okay. Next. Now next is dice operation. Now what we do in dice operation is we need to have two dimensions basically, right? So यहाँ पे if you see, select product name, total sales and day. So I am selecting day also and I am selecting product name also, right? And then what I'm performing again. Now product name is coming from your product table. Day is coming from your time table, right? So यहाँ पे हमारे पास दो dimensions है which I am accessing now, and I want to find out the total sale for that. So how will you perform the join? So you will extract the information from the fact table and you are going to perform the join on the product dimension table there you will first perform the joining operation of your fact table with the dimension table, and then whatever you get, you later on perform that join with your time dimension table, right? So you will see here that first I have performed the same operation on my product, जो भी हमने ऊपर लिखा था. Now I am performing join operation on the time table, where the time ID in my fact cells is matching with the time ID in the dimension table, right? Again, I'm doing the same thing. I only want to have this information for the product, let's say rice. So if you'll see the output, it is now giving me information for 2 dimensions. So it is giving me that rice and on what day I got that total sale. Okay, so it is giving me information related to day wise information. That's it. अगर आपको चेंज करना है, अगर आपके इसमें एक और हायरार्की है मंथ वाइज, तो आप अगर मंथ करोगे तो ये थोड़ा और कंबाइन हो जाएगा, आपको मंथ वाइज मिलेगा. सो कमिंग बैक टू हियर, if I execute this, you can see I'm getting information as day wise. Okay, and the same information thing, if you want multiple, that in day also I want to have only that information. That means out of this, you can see there are 16 lines. Okay, I don't want 16 lines. So you are again providing one condition over there, that I don't want all the dates. I want only the dates which has the quarter as Q1, right? So again, you are checking in your time dimension table that the ID which has Q1, that is QT as Q1, and then you are only accessing those values which has quarter as Q1. So if I execute this, you can see the number of rows has been decreased, because now these are the dates which belongs to only Q1. Okay, so for only Q1, I'm getting these penny cells. So this is about the dice operation. Next. Now roll up on time dimension year wise. So let's say I'm talking about roll up operation. So we have seen roll up means you are aggregating the information. Okay, so I have this information which is giving me day wise information. I don't want that. I want to aggregate all these values. So जो भी आपके पूरे table में है, मुझे year wise वो value देना है. Again, I'll just show you here in my main table. So let's see the main table again. So you see, if this is my table, now what I want is, I want year wise information. अब यहाँ पे मेरा time dimension में मेरे पास कितनी values है? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll just see that what is there in my time dimension. So this is my time dimension. Let's try to select the first few rows and see what we have in time dimensions. You can see total 2021 is given. So whatever values related to all these time dimensions has to be added. Now here in my table means all these values are belonging to 2021 only. So when I perform roll up, it has to add all these values and it has to give me. But I don't have direct value again, because if I want to go for particular year, और if I want to add using year, तो पहले से जाके चेक करना पड़ेगा टाइम डायमेंशन में कि ईयर कौन से है करके. So if you see now, next is I am selecting year. Okay, so from my time dimension, I am selecting year value and I am performing aggregation. So we know that we have a function in database SQL में आपने पढ़ा होगा, sum नाम का function है जो total sale दे देगा मुझे, because it has to finally add all those values, right? So sum total, as I'm giving the name to the column as total sale, ये कहाँ से आएगा? This is from the fact sales table, which is going to perform the join with the product table, because मुझे यहाँ पे मुझे particular product के लिए rice के लिए रखना है, तो मुझे पहले product के साथ करूंगी मैं. On which part? So fact sales का product ID and product table का product ID. On this basis, it is going to first perform join, and after that, whatever entries I am getting, it is going to perform join on the time dimension. So fact sales के time ID को time dimension के time ID के साथ में it is going to match. Only where I have product name as rice, because I have all the names as rice, it is going to take all the entries of my table. तो यहाँ पे सारी entries उसको retrieve हो जाएगी. All these entries will be retrieved, and now it has to perform grouping by year. So let's say I have few more entries in my fact table, so those will be added according to the year. So let's try to execute this. So you can see the example here. Now for year 2021, I got the total sale as 1,32,000. I think 13 lakh 20,000 something. Okay, if there is other year, because we are performing group by operation, group by is basically used for roll up or drill down. तो यहाँ पे आप ग्रुप बाय में दिखाते हो कि आपको कौन से डायमेंशन के अक्रॉस में आपको एग्रीगेट परफॉर्म करना है. सो ग्रुप बाय ईयर में मैंने क्या किया कि आई वांट टू परफॉर्म ईयर वाइज ऑपरेशन ऑन माय टोटल सेल्स, राइट. सो इफ वी कम बैक टू द ओरिजिनल टेबल में इफ यू ऐड ऑल दीज रोज जो मैंने मेरे फैक्ट टेबल में लिए हैं, so they will actually add up to that 13,20,000. So you are getting this. So this is next operation which I have performed on my table to get the total aggregate value. Next is, let's talk about drill down. So next operation is drilling down. Now in drill down, what we are doing here is we are drilling down the total sales by quarters. So already I have my table, fact table. I can go to that fact table and I can perform group, aggregation on my time dimension on basis of quarter. So we are going to use the same query here, but instead of year, I want to perform it quarter wise. So I just want to have the quarter wise information. Okay, so what's my original table again? Let's just see. So you can see here T1 01 02 ये है हमारे पास, और quarters में I have 2 quarters, right? So quarter 1 and quarter 2, and quarter 1 ID is 101 and 102, and quarter 2 ID is 103 104. So basically from your table, whichever time ID belongs to quarter 1, so 101 102 101 102, they will be aggregated together. So if you add them, whatever value comes, that will be the aggregate value for that particular quarter. Same 103. So whichever rows are responsible for quarter 2, so 103, 104, 103, 104, all these rows will be extracted and they will give you the aggregate value. So coming back to this query, if I execute this, so same query here, what I want now, I want quarter information. I want the quarter information and I want to perform the aggregation on the total sales value for those particular rows. So quarter information, and I want to perform aggregation as total sales. I am giving the name to my column. From which table you will be first, we will always go for the fact table first, because that is the main table in which I will be having all the information. And then whatever other information we are requiring, we perform join on those other tables. So we are performing join on the product table because I want to check for rice. So I am trying to find out the common attribute in those 2 tables, and only that which has rice that will be extracted. And then once I have these rows, I will extract the time dimension, and then I will check for the time ID which is common to both the tables, and then I will be performing the drill down operation. तो यहाँ पे actually जो day wise information था मेरा original table में, right? नहीं sorry, जो year wise information मैंने किया उसको भी मैं quarter से drill wise किया. तो अभी आप यहाँ पे देखोगे, if I'll run this, you can see here now it is giving me quarter wise information, that is Q1 is, so all those rows which contribute to Q1, ये Q1 कहाँ से आया? It matched the IDs from your time dimension table, only it fetched only those rows which matches to your Q1, and therefore the addition for that will be this much and this. So these are some of the operations. Basically the pivot operation is not working properly in my this. I'll just show you the query part, so you can just write it down, or I think I deleted that part. Okay, so I'll just provide in the write-up that pivot. It is not actually working on my table. I don't know what is the problem. It was showing me a lot of error. So I did not do that. So I will show you that how to do it, and we will also see it in the Visual Studio. Okay. Now coming back to this, this is not actually multi-dimensional view because we are performing normal SQL queries on the database to analyze. The other way is we have more complex queries which are called MDX, because again you can see if I write SQL queries like this, and if there are so many tables and so many joins, then your query will become too much complicated. So we have later on MDX ka option hai, but for your practical you can write these simple queries which is given in the syllabus. You can go through this, you can write these queries and you can execute. So similar queries you can have for your table. You have to understand that how you are selecting columns. Basically you need to understand the difference between the operations. तो मुझे slice करना है तो I am choosing only one dimension. So जैसे यहाँ पे हमने जो slice operation किया था, I choose only one dimension, right? But when I have to perform dice. So I'm choosing 2 dimensions, right? And then how you perform aggregation or drill down. This is what you can show with the query. So what I want in the write up is I want you to show me all this. So ये जो मैंने अपने लिए लिखा है यहाँ पे केस स्टडी में आपको जो सैंपल एग्जांपल दिया है, same way you will be performing the queries for your problem. So आपको पहले दिखाना है कि what is there in your database, so what tables you have created. So okay, so for what in your screenshot, what you are showing is all these table information what you have created in your experiment number 2. तो अगर आपको यहाँ पे दिखाना है, and then you will show that what analysis you did using the OLAP operation. तो जैसे slice operation अगर किया है, तो what output you are getting, then you have to write all the queries and you have to show. So you can take this as a reference and you can do your analysis. Okay. So this is what about. Yes, Rohit.
मैम ये सब कुछ मैम जो आपने डेटा दिया वो मतलब वो वाला यूज नहीं करने का, खुद से कुछ डाटा बना के वगैरह वगैरह
हमने केस एक्सपेरिमेंट 2 में बना है ना, मैंने बोला था ना आप लोग को, आप अपना केस स्टडी लेके छोटी छोटी वैल्यूज उसमें डाल के करो. तो एक्सपेरिमेंट 2 में बोला ना, एक्सपेरिमेंट 2 ने हमने क्या किया, टेबल्स बनाए ना, डायमेंशंस, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल
हाँ वगैरह वगैरह बनाया.
तो अभी उसी को लो आप एंड इन क्वेरीज को आप थोड़ा अपने हिसाब से चेंज कर दो. आई हैव गिवन यू सिंपल एग्जांपल कि स्लाइस ऑपरेशन करना है. नाउ यू विल हैव टू यूज योर एग्जांपल्स इन दैट. तो जैसे आपके पास कोई और प्रोडक्शन टेबल रहेगा, उसका कोई और कॉलम नेम रहेगा. फॉर एग्जांपल आपने कस्टमर लिया, आपको कस्टमर के थ्रू एनालाइज करना है, तो आपको कस्टमर के नाम से आपको स्लाइस ऑपरेशन देखना है कि कितने कस्टमर्स में कितना टोटल सेल्स. तो यहाँ पे कस्टमर नेम आ जाएगा, टोटल सेल्स की जगह आपका कुछ और नंबर ये रहेगा, वो इंफॉर्मेशन एंड वट एवर नेम यू हैव गिवन टू द टेबल एंड हाउ यू परफॉर्म द ज्वाइन. मतलब कौन सी कॉमन की है जिसपे आपको वो ज्वाइन परफॉर्म करना है. ऑन दैट बेसिस
पर मुझे इतना कुछ समझा ही नहीं है.
क्या क्या
हम इतना कुछ समझा नहीं है मैम, जब आप ये इधर या सब डाल रहे थे ना, अंडरस्टैंडिंग.
एक मिनट है, आपने ये एसक्यूएल क्वेरीज पढ़ी है बेटा, आपने डेटाबेस में आपने किए है ना ये सारी क्वेरीज एग्जीक्यूट. देयर इज नथिंग न्यू इन दैट. How do you perform join वगैरह queries, or you can use the same queries if you don't understand, but don't just copy paste. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give Word document for this. I will be giving a PDF. All of you, if you don't understand how to go ahead, you can use the same queries and you try to execute. करना क्या है आपको, आपने जब SQL आपके जो केस स्टडी 2 में आपने टेबल क्रिएट किया था, सो इफ यू रिमेंबर मैंने एसक्यूएल क्वेरीज भी बताई थी, टेबल क्रिएट कैसे करोगे आप अपने लिए. किया था उसमें टेबल क्रिएट?
नहीं मैम.
नहीं किया. क्यों नहीं किया? केस टू भी टेबल क्रिएट्स करने हैं ना, अपने अपने छोटे छोटे टेबल क्रिएट करने हैं.
मैं एक्चुअली मैम थोड़ा बहुत मेरे प्रोजेक्ट का टॉपिक वगैरह ढूंढने में रह गया था.
Yes. Please go through that video. You have to create. Otherwise, you can use these samples which I have given, sample copies. Okay. So you can go through this. You can study this also. ठीक है. तो ये simple queries है. For example, अभी यहाँ पे मैं बोल रही हूँ, तो मैंने आपको टेबल तो दिखाया ना अभी. For example, मेरे पास ये टेबल है. I have this table. Okay. This is my fact table. So in the similar way, you will be having your own table. See, fact table is nothing but it is kind of your transaction table only. तो आपके पास अगर आपका एक ट्रांजेक्शन टेबल है, वो इन्फॉर्मेशन हम फैक्ट टेबल में डाल रहे हैं. अलॉन्ग विद दैट यू ऑल्सो हैव डायमेंशन टेबल्स. डायमेंशन टेबल मीन्स किसी भी इंफॉर्मेशन से रिलेटेड उसका कंप्लीट इंफॉर्मेशन एक ही टेबल में. ट्रांजेक्शन सिस्टम में वैसा होता है क्या? इट माइट नॉट हैपन बिकॉज प्रोडक्ट से रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन देयर कैन बी मल्टीपल टेबल्स. हमको करना क्या है, हमको एक टेबल अपना खुद का क्रिएट करना है. आई एम गिविंग यू सिंपल एग्जांपल फॉर द एग्जांपल व्हिच आई हैव गिवन. मैंने यहाँ पे क्या किया था, आई क्रिएटेड अ स्मॉल डेटा वेयर हाउस फॉर लेट्स से एनालाइजिंग द टोटल सेल्स. तो मैंने टोटल सेल्स के लिए क्या किया, आई क्रिएटेड वन प्रोडक्ट टेबल. तो ये मैंने एक प्रोडक्ट टेबल, नाउ वी नो हाउ टू क्रिएट अ प्रोडक्ट टेबल. सो दिस इज व्हाट अ प्रोडक्ट टेबल आई क्रिएटेड विथ 4 कॉलम्स: प्रोडक्ट आईडी, प्रोडक्ट नेम, प्रोडक्ट कैटेगरी, ब्रांड नेम, सप्लाई नेम, प्रोडक्ट नेम. ये मैंने कुछ वैल्यूज का कुछ इसका एक स्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट किया एंड देन आई मैन्युअली इंसर्टेड द वैल्यू. तो तो मैंने यहाँ पे लेट्स से आई वांट टू वर्क ऑन 4 प्रोडक्ट्स राइट ना, तो ये 4 कीज है उसकी एंड ये इंफॉर्मेशन है। तो ये जस्ट रैंडमली आप अपने हिसाब से अपनी कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन डालो आपके टेबल में। ये हो गया, पहला टेबल क्रिएट हो गया। नाउ यू विल क्रिएट द सेकंड टेबल। योर सेकंड टेबल इज लेट्स से हियर आई वांट टू वेरीफाई लोकेशन वाइज कि जिस जिस लोकेशन में मेरे वो शॉप्स है आई वांट टू एनालाइज ऑन दैट। तो मुझे लोकेशन का पूरा इन्फॉर्मेशन लगेगा। OLTP में क्या होता है, ये इन्फॉर्मेशन एक ही टेबल में रहे जरूरी नहीं है। आपका प्रोडक्ट नेम एक टेबल में रहेगा, मे बी कैटेगरी सब कैटेगरी का इन्फॉर्मेशन कोई और टेबल में मिलेगा, सप्लायर का नाम किसी और टेबल में मिलेगा। आपका जो OLTP सिस्टम होता है इट इज ऑल सेग्रीगेटेड, नॉट वन एट वन प्लेस, राइट। तो यहाँ
Yes.
पे वो नहीं करे। यहाँ पे जिस चीज के लिए मुझे बनाना है मैं वो चीज को एक ही टेबल में रखती हूँ। आई वॉन्ट टू मिनिमाइज द नंबर ऑफ टेबल्स हियर, बिकॉज आपने देखा होगा SQL क्वेरीज में जो परफॉर्म करी हूँ ये क्रिएट दिस जॉइंट्स। ये जॉइंट्स जितने कम रहेंगे उतना
उतना
आपका
अच्छा रहेगा,
यस उतना
उतना
आपका
इजी रहेगा।
फास्ट होगा, राइट। जो रिजल्ट क्वेरी का रिजल्ट आए वो मुझे फास्ट मिलेगा उसके लिए। कौन है अभी? अच्छा रोहित किधर से आ रहा है, ठीक है थोड़ा म्यूट रखो बेटा, ठीक है। सो आई वांट टू परफॉर्म जॉइन, दैट्स व्हाई। तो इसलिए हम यहाँ पे क्या करते हैं, मोस्टली वी मेक श्योर दैट एंटायर इंफॉर्मेशन ऑफ माय OLTP सिस्टम रिलेटेड टू प्रोडक्ट इज इन वन टेबल। वहां पे जरूरी नहीं कि इट विल बी इन द वन टेबल, तो बट यहाँ पे वो एक ही टेबल में रहेगा। एंड जनरली हम वहां से पुल करते इन्फॉर्मेशन यहाँ पे डालते सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन, बट दैट इज नॉट पॉसिबल नाउ बिकॉज प्रैक्टिकली वी आर डूइंग इट, सो वी डोंट हैव एनी OLTP सिस्टम करंटली अवेलेबल। तो हम मैन्युअली फीड कर रहे, तो इसलिए मैंने यहाँ पे मैन्युअली डेटा डाल दी। सेम फॉर द लोकेशन, मुझे लोकेशन से रिलेटेड जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन है वो मुझे एक टेबल में चाहिए। यहाँ पे जरूरी नहीं आपके OLTP में वो हो, बट यहाँ पे मुझे वो करना है। सो लोकेशन से रिलेटेड क्या, कौन से स्ट्रीट का नाम क्या है, सिटी का नाम क्या है, स्टेट का नाम क्या है, कंट्री का नाम, ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन मैं एक टेबल में रख रही हूँ, ठीक है। सो दिस इज डन। एंड देन लेट्स से टाइम इंफॉर्मेशन, तो मुझे पता करना है कि टाइम वाइज अगर मुझे वैल्यू स्टोर करनी है तो टाइम से रिलेटेड क्या क्या इंफॉर्मेशन लगती है। तो कौन सा डे है वो, तो मैंने यहाँ पे पूरा डेट डाल दी। ये विच मंथ ऑफ दिस, विच इज दिस मंथ, वो क्वार्टर, ईयर, ये सारा इंफॉर्मेशन। ये भी आप मैन्युअली डाल दो, कुछ 8-10 वैल्यूज इसमें डाल के रख दो, डे वाइज आपने कुछ एंट्रीज डाल के रख दी यहाँ पे, ठीक है। तो एवरीवेयर यू हैव टू क्रिएट अ टेबल इन योर एक्सपेरिमेंट नंबर 2, यू हैव टू इंसर्ट वैल्यूज इनटू दीज टेबल्स, ठीक है। इतना आपको एक्सपेरिमेंट नंबर 2 में करना है, ठीक है। एंड बिकॉज व्हाट यू आर डूइंग, आपने ये जो बनाया है, अब फैक्ट टेबल आप जो लास्ट बनाते हो, फैक्ट टेबल में आपको क्या बनाना है, you have to give the columns are nothing but the primary keys of your dimension table। तो आपने ये जो टेबल क्रिएट किए, हर टेबल को क्रिएट करते थे आपने एक प्राइमरी की यूज की थी, राइट। सो प्रोडक्ट आईडी के लिए प्रोडक्ट आईडी प्राइमरी की, इसके लिए ये प्राइमरी की है, इसके लिए ये प्राइमरी की है। नाउ लास्ट में आप बनाते हो फैक्ट टेबल, सो यू क्रिएट अ फैक्ट टेबल। तो यहाँ पे मैंने फैक्ट टेबल को क्रिएट किया। अब फैक्ट टेबल के एट्रीब्यूट्स क्या रहेंगे, तो फैक्ट टेबल में आप जब क्रिएट टेबल करके आप कॉलम नेम्स डालोगे तो उसमें आप प्रोडक्ट आईडी, टाइम आईडी, लोकेशन आईडी ये पहले दोगे। क्यों? बिकॉज दीज आर नथिंग बट दी प्राइमरी कीज ऑफ योर
प्राइमरी कीज, क्योंकि उनको फॉरेन की से
हाँ, तो आपको ये देना है। आफ्टर दैट यू गिव वॉट एवर फैक्ट्स यू वांट टू एनालाइज। आपको जो भी नंबर्स एनालाइज करना है, आपको सेल्स एनालाइज करना है, आपको क्वांटिटी एनालाइज करनी है, आपको टैक्स अमाउंट आइडेंटिफाई करना है, आपको डिस्काउंट एनालाइज करना है, इसके बाद आप कोई भी लिखो और ये वैल्यूज आप मैन्युअली दो टेबल में, राइट। तो इंसर्ट में फैक्ट टेबल अगेन वी विल बी इंसर्टिंग मैन्युअली बिकॉज हमारे पास OLTP का कोई हमने सिस्टम बनाया नहीं है। अदरवाइज जो आपका ट्रांजेक्शन टेबल होता है मेन, जो हमारा लेट्स से ऑर्डर प्रोसेसिंग में मेरा जो मेन ट्रांजैक्शन टेबल रहेगा वो एज इट इज आपका फैक्ट टेबल बनता है। तो सारी जो एंट्रीज है वो वहीं से आ रही है, राइट। सो यू आर सिंपली मैपिंग दैट टेबल टू योर फैक्ट टेबल। बट अभी हमारे पास वो टेबल नहीं है तो मैं मैन्युअली डाल रही हूँ कि मैं बोल रही हूँ कि ये जो प्रोडक्ट था दिस वाज इन टाइम डायमेंशन 1, लोकल इन लोकेशन 201, this much unit was sold and this was the total sale। तो ये मैंने मैन्युअली अपने हाथ से ये वैल्यूज डाल दी है। तो यू
मैम
कैन
सारे प्रोडक्ट आईडीज 111 क्यों?
मैंने ऐसे ही डाल दिया, मैंने 1 डाला, गलती
अच्छा,
की।
ओके।
दिस इज सी, मैंने ये भी दिखाया था आपको SQL क्वेरी, इफ लेट मी जस्ट शो यू दैट पार्ट आल्सो। सो यू सी हियर मैंने ये इंसर्ट करते वक्त वैसा डाला, इफ आई चेंज दैट इट विल कम समथिंग एल्स। कहां गया वो, So this is what I am inserting in my fact table. ये देखो कितनी सारी इतनी रोज लिखी मैंने, ठीक है? तो fact table, insert into fact table all these values and I have inserted all these values. मैं यहाँ पे change कुछ कर दूँ तो वो वैसा change हो जाएगा. अभी I don't want to do it because मेरा पूरा आपको दिखाया और सब गड़बड़ हो जाएगा, इसलिए this any value, whatever value you want to insert, मतलब क्या transactions वहां पे हुए हैं that you are reflecting in your fact table. तो अगर वहां पे transaction हुआ है कि product 2 under time dimension 1 for let's say in location 203 for 500 total quantity उसका था और total sale उसका था 10,000, वो as it is आप यहाँ पे insert करे वो information, right? तो जो आप यहाँ पे डालोगे उतना आपका वैसे टेबल बन जाएगा. तो ये करने के बाद में मुझे टेबल मिला, मेरा फैक्ट सेल्स टेबल मिला, ठीक है? एंड देन आफ्टर दैट आई एम परफॉर्मिंग ऑल दीज ऑपरेशन, ठीक है? तो ये जो ऑपरेशन थे यहीं पे खुला के so once you are done with that, what we are doing is now we are performing analysis on that. So जो भी चीज है, अभी आपके पास टेबल तो आ गया, now you have to perform some kind of analysis on your data. तो आप एनालिटिक्स करने के लिए वही टेबल्स यूज करोगे. तो आपके केस स्टडी में आपने जो यूज किया होगा वो आपको लिखना है, ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे आप वैसी कैरीज हो. अब चेंज आप ज्यादा कुछ नहीं करोगे. लेट्स से आपने भी 4 डायमेंशंस लिए थे. फॉर एग्जांपल आपका बताओ रोहित, आपने कौन से टेबल्स लिए आपके केस स्टडी के लिए, डायमेंशन टेबल?
मैम एक्चुअली मैं स्क्रीन शेयर कर सकता हूँ, मैं जब ओपन कर रहा तो कनेक्ट नहीं हो रहा.
एक मिनट, आई जस्ट स्टॉप दिस. यस,
मैम नहीं हो रहा कुछ, यहाँ पे ब्राउजर कुछ दिख रहा नहीं है.
नहीं, तो आपने पहले तो इंस्टेंस ही इसका क्रिएट नहीं किया है ना. योर आपको सर्वर नेम डालना पड़ेगा. आपने क्या दिया था जब आपने कनेक्ट किया एसक्यूएल सर्वर को? जब हम इंस्टेंस इंस्टॉल करते हैं, व्हेन यू आर इंस्टॉलिंग एसक्यूएल सर्वर, तो स्टैंड आपको दिखाया था ना, इसमें जाओ आप पहले तो हाँ, एंड देन यू क्लिक दी स्टैंड अलोन करके डालो उसमें. स्टैंड अलोन में यू हैव टू रिमेम्बर द एसक्यूएल सर्वर नेम दैट यू हैव गिवन टू योर इंस्टेंस. वो नेम यहाँ पे आपको डालना पड़ेगा. ये खुल नहीं रहा है बोल रहे, ओपन नहीं हो रहा है.
मैम ये चालू ही नहीं हो रहा, मतलब
ये तो नहीं होगा. ये जब आपने बराबर से डाल, इधर एक नीचे कुछ दिख रहा है, नहीं ये भी नहीं है. इसको बंद कर दो, क्लोज दिस. कैंसिल करो. हाँ, क्लोज कर दो इसको. See, it's opening. कुछ तो भी आ रहा है. It is little slow. It is showing ना. Please wait. It is setup process and current operation. जब तक आप उस लोकेशन पे जाके आपका स्टैंड अलोन इंस्टॉलेशन कंप्लीट नहीं करोगे, so you should remember the SQL server name that you given for your instance. वो नेम आपको यहाँ पे डायरेक्टली ऐड कर देना है. एंड देन यू सिंपली से कनेक्ट, तो वो आपका कनेक्ट हो जाएगा, ठीक है?
मैम वो सेकंड वाला इंस्टॉल करना बाकी है ना?
हाँ, मतलब इंस्टेंस. आई विल जस्ट शो यू. आप बंद करोगे अपना, मैं बता. फ्रॉम हियर जो आपने वो फाइल किया होगा सेटअप, सो डाउनलोड्स में क्या ये सेटअप जब ओपन करते हैं, this is not opening at your place. You might have not done this installation proper. जो सबसे पहले
ओपन हो गया, ओपन हो गया.
Now here in under installation you have to come to this part, standalone installation and add features, right? If I click this, ये मैंने बताया है फर्स्ट, इसमें बताया है, उसके वीडियोस भी रखे. यू कैन गो थ्रू दैट वीडियोस अगेन. एंड हियर इट आस्क यू क्या करना है आपको. सो नेक्स्ट, एक्सेप्ट, नेक्स्ट. आप लोगों ने डीबीएस के प्रैक्टिकल किस में किया था लास्ट सेमेस्टर इन डीबीएमएस सब्जेक्ट?
जैम
सर्वर पे किया था।
ओके, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट, देन हियर अगर ये नहीं होता तो माई एसक्यूएल है, बट ओरेकल में विजुअलाइजेशन यू विल नॉट गेट। जो विजुअल स्टूडियो में जैसा इफेक्ट मिलता है वो इसमें नहीं मिलेगा, ठीक है। ये हो गया। नेक्स्ट में here it is important to see perform a new installation or add existing features. Now here if you don't have any instance on your PC you will not see anything here. There is no अभी आपको मुझे मेरे यहाँ पे ये दिख रहा है already because this instance is running in my system. So अगर मैं आपको यहाँ दिखाऊं, so if I did just disconnect this part and connect it, so you can see this is that instance which I created. So SQL server, तो ये नाम मैंने दिया, this is my computer name. Okay, तो अगर आपके इसमें रहेगा तो you will see the PC name. Okay, so this is the computer name, right? ये as it is है, लेकिन उसके बाद मैंने एक ये डाला है सर्वर नेम। ये कहाँ से आया? जब मैं इंस्टॉल कर रही थी। So when I was installing this part, कहाँ गया installation? Okay, so I had given this name. तो अगर आपके पास अभी कुछ भी नहीं तो ये ब्लैंक रहेगा। अभी मेरे पास ऑलरेडी तो मुझे यहाँ पे दिख रहा है कि ये कौन सा इंस्टेंस है, ठीक है। नाउ आई वांट टू परफॉर्म न्यू, यू कैन हैव मोर इंस्टेंस, तो लोग सेपरेट इंस्टेंस आप क्रिएट कर सकते हो। सो इफ आई वांट टू क्रिएट अ न्यू इंस्टेंस आई विल जस्ट गो टू नेक्स्ट पार्ट।
मैम इन प्रोडक्ट की डेवलपर ना,
डेवलपर राइट। फिर यहाँ पे आपको सिर्फ ये डेटाबेस इंजन क्लिक करना है, अभी के लिए कुछ मत करना। नेक्स्ट टाइम फॉर एक्चुअली एक्सपेरिमेंट नंबर 3 आज मुझे बताना था आपको कि वंस वी आर डन विद दिस आप ऐड एग्जिस्टिंग फीचर में जाओगे उसी ऑप्शन में एंड यू विल इंस्टॉल दिस एनालिसिस सर्विस। अभी करके रखना है तो अभी करके रख दो, दोनों आ जाएंगे साथ में, राइट। सो एनालिसिस सर्विसेज इज वन विच वी रिक्वायर फॉर द एसक्यूएल सर्वर नाउ. सो नेक्स्ट टाइम यू आर गोइंग टू ऐड द फीचर, दैट टाइम यू विल बी चूजिंग एनालिसिस सर्विस, राइट। अभी मेरे इसमें दोनों है इंस्टॉल्ड and just if you press next it will show you that और कुछ नहीं करना है, जस्ट नेक्स्ट करते जाओ और इंस्टॉल कर दो। तो ये दो चीजें अभी आपके पीसी में होने चाहिए फॉर एक्सपेरिमेंट नंबर 1 डेटाबेस इंजन एंड नाउ फॉर एक्सपेरिमेंट नंबर 3 वी शुड हैव दिस एनालिसिस सर्विस। सो सेम उसमें जाना है आपको, सेम इसमें यहाँ पे आके यू जस्ट हैव टू क्लिक ऐड एग्जिस्टिंग फीचर और ऐड न्यू इंस्टॉलेशन। तो वो आपको बताएगा आपको एग्जिस्टिंग यूज करना है, आपको नए में कुछ फीचर्स ऐड करने हैं, व्हाटएवर इट इज इट विल गिव यू द प्रॉब्लम, ठीक है। ये होने के बाद में जब आप यहाँ पे आते हो, सो यू एक्चुअली वांट टू स्टार्ट, तो आपको कनेक्ट करना पड़ता है, टास्क फॉर यू टू कनेक्ट टू द डेटाबेस। तो अभी तक हमने सिर्फ रिलेशनल टेबल्स ही बनाए हैं, राइट, एंड देन वी आर कनेक्टिंग दैट, एंड वो रिलेशनल टेबल्स ऐसे कनेक्ट किए हैं दे आर इन टर्म्स ऑफ अ स्टार स्कीमा, तो इसलिए हमने डेटाबेस इंजन किया है। नाउ फॉर दिस experiment number 3 we will be using the analysis services, so we'll have to click this. Baki ka you don't have to change because I am using the same instance, so I am not changing the instance, so I am only using the analysis service now for experiment number 3. Okay, why? Because I now want to show you that how we perform multidimensional queries. The same queries we can write in a different way, so I'm going to show you some recorded videos. I'll just keep that on uh, uh, classroom also. So now I will show you the actual part कि हम करेंगे क्या करके। Let me just stop this time. Any other query? Anybody still having not understanding? Now I will just show you a simple 2-3 videos in which so how we do it in Visual Studio, that I will show you right now. This is actually my previous lecture, so here only. Let's connect this. First, I'll just show you the data. So I created a data warehouse in which I had created these tables. So this is my data. These are number of data warehouse. This is, I think, tables. You can see that these are some of the tables I have created, and just have to mention that which are these tables, whether I'm using a dimension table or a fact table to be created. And once I create this, I am not able to access that query. I don't know where I have stored this. Yes, right. So in a simple way, what I did, I used a transaction. I created a database. This is already basically we have created. So I'll not show you this part. So I'll just show you the MDX part. Because I have 5 tables, so that way, basically, while installing your Visual Studio, you just give me a 2 ask minutes. It to install. I'll just show you on my PC. See, क्या करना है अभी आपको? Come to next part, which is Visual Studio. Okay, so now we will come to Visual Studio part. यहाँ पे आप एक है installer और एक है Visual Studio. So just click this ID. And this is the page which we are in. What we have to do, we have to create a new project now. Because why we are creating a new project? Because now we have to actually create a multi-dimensional view for the data warehouse which you have created. तो हमने वो तो सब देख लिया, but this is the step which you really need to understand. So create a new project. Under this, you can see once you install analysis services, which I already told you how we do it in the Visual Studio. So please refer the old videos where I have explained that how we can install analytics tools, business tools in Visual Studio. Basically, it is called SSDT. तो या तो आप जो इंस्टॉलर है वहां से SSDT को इंस्टॉल करो, या फिर आप विजुअल स्टूडियो में आके, तो आप अगर एक मिनट I'll just show you. If those who have still don't remember क्या बताया था, तो continue without code में जाके you can simply go to the extension part here, and you can see how many extension do you have in your Visual Studio. So I want you to have the at least integration, this integration service and the analysis service, right? So I want you to have this analysis service. Okay, तो अगर आप इसको create करोगे तो ये आएगा Microsoft Analysis Service Project. So you have to simply install this. If it is not there, यहाँ पे download का option आएगा. Just download करके close करो. You will have to close the entire IDE to download that section, right? तो आपको इसको पूरा बंद करना पड़ेगा. Background में फिर वो आपका run होगा. Once it is installed, you will get a message. Then you can open the Visual Studio. So let's say I have installed that part and I come to again this part जहाँ पे मैं Visual Studio open कर रही हूँ again. So in that case, up now if you search for analysis service for the new project, you will get that. So create a new project now and search here for analysis services. Okay, so this is there, analysis services, multi-dimensional and data mining project. So if I want to perform multi-dimensional analysis on my data, I need to have this tool, which you can download in Visual Studio using extension. Okay, once this is done, press next. It ask you whether you want to give any name to this. You can change this, for example, sales analysis. I'll write 3 because I already have 2 more repositories. तो मैंने यहाँ पे दिया, बाकी कुछ change करने की जरूरत नहीं है, just say create. So you can see here, the moment you create that multidimensional analysis view, you get to see something in the Solution Explorer on the right hand side, where you can see the option that this is the project which I have created. So this is my package which I have created just now. Under that, you get the option that what is your data source or what are your data sources, what is the view that you want to create, what are the cubes. So here we get the option that you can create cubes now. Then what are the dimensions you want to select, all these things. So the very first thing we have to tell this project is that I want to use one source which I have created. तो आपने already वो बना दिया है database. Now you come to this part and you would say that I want to add a new data source. Okay, so click next and it asks you whether you want to create a data source or you want to use the existing ones. We have already created that existing one, right? So I'll just say create one from the existing. So new में जाके you simply have to check for the database which you have created, जो आपने अपने case study में बना होगा. तो provider में जाके you have to simply use this OLEDB provider for SQL Server. This is on which we are going to perform the project. And here it is asking you to write a server name. Again, जो आप server name हमेशा देते हो, यहाँ पे भी जो आपका server name है, यही server name यहाँ पे आप डालो. ठीक है? So the same server name, I'll just copy this. I will come here. I will add that server name here. Okay. और if it is automatically detected, तो आपको list मिल जाएगी server की. मेरे इसमें आता नहीं है, इसलिए it says it has to wait. तो मैं ये यहाँ पे type किया. And if you want to check कि मैंने correct server name दिया है कि नहीं, so you can just test the connection. If it is saying that it is succeeded, then fine. That means you have selected the correct instance. Then depending upon authentication आपने क्या दिया था, whether you remember आपने installation के time पे आपने क्या बताया, मैं let's say I'm keeping it as window authentication. And from this instance जो मैंने यहाँ पे connect किया हुआ है, right? From this instance, whatever I have connected, which database I want to select for my analysis, जिसके ऊपर मुझे cube बनाना है, because मैंने यहाँ पे बहुत सारे connect करके रखे थे databases. Which database I want to select for that analysis, cube किसके लिए बनाना है. So यहाँ पे मुझे Visual Studio में उसका नाम देना पड़ेगा. So if you have selected a correct server name, it is going to show you the list of databases you are connected to on this instance. तो आपको किस पे करना है, तो मैंने सेल्स क्रिएट किया है, सेल्स डेटाबेस क्रिएट किया है मैंने, जिसमें मैंने डायमेंशंस, टेबल्स एंड फैक्ट टेबल्स डिक्लेयर किए. सो आई विल चूज दैट एंड प्रेस ओके. ओके, सो ये देखो आ गया वो, इट इज कनेक्टेड. प्रेस नेक्स्ट and it is asking you whether how you want to have your impersonation information, which means basically the credentials you want to give to connect to that data source. आपको कौन से credentials देने हैं, whether you want to have a password and name to access the data source. So generally we use this use service account, which means यहाँ पे आपने जैसे connect किया होगा उसी by default method से आपका इसमें भी connect हो जाएगा. ठीक है, so I am using the service account and then I'll click next. And data source name here, if you want to change that, what should be the data source name? So I'm keeping it sales only because it is the source it is the database which I want to connect, and say finish. तो अभी आपने source select किया, मतलब आपने जो database बनाया था वो actually आपने यहाँ पे select कर लिया. After that, what you want to have is Sampath sir, I mean like a practical. Sir, I mean. Sorry, my camera was off. So now here, once you have selected the source, now after selecting the source, अब हम उसके multi-dimensional views create करेंगे, right? So here you will come to data source view, click right, and it asks you to whether you want to create a new data source. I'm clicking this part, and I've come here to this page. Click next. Now you can see it's asking you select the data source. That means you want to create a multi-dimensional view for what? So in the previous stage, I have already told the Visual Studio that this is the data source which I want to use for the view. So I'll be selecting that only. अगर आपके पास यहाँ पे बहुत सारे व्यूज, बहुत सारे डेटा सोर्स से आप कनेक्ट करके रखते हो, तो यहाँ पे आप सिलेक्ट कर सकते हो कि आपको कौन सा डेटा सोर्स का व्यू चेक करना है. अभी मेरे पास एक ही है तो मैंने सेल्स रखा है. ठीक है, नया चाहिए तो आप यहाँ से फिर से नया ले सकते हो. ओके, सो प्रेस नेक्स्ट. नाउ फॉर द व्यू हमको क्या लगता है, वी रिक्वायर द डायमेंशंस एंड फैक्ट्स एंड एवरीथिंग. सो वंस आई क्लिक दिस, you can see here it is showing all the tables that are present in this database जो हमने as a data source select किया है. तो सेल्स में मेरे पास 3 tables थे, लोकेशन है, प्रोडक्ट है और टाइम है, एंड एक है फैक्ट टेबल which is fact sales. तो ये सारा दिख रहा है। इट क्रिएट सम सिस्टम डायग्राम भी मैंने क्रिएट की थी, तो वो भी टेबल दिख रहा है। तो मुझे ये सारा वो बता रहा है कि these are the tables related to this database that you have selected as a source. What do you want to include in your project? मतलब आपको किसका व्यू करना है? मुझे डायमेंशन व्यू देखना है, 3D व्यू देखना है, तो मुझे कितने डायमेंशन चाहिए? तो आपको जितना लगता है आप सिलेक्ट करो यहाँ से। चलो मैंने चारों सिलेक्ट कर दिए मेरे, okay, and I will send it on the right hand side. Now by mistakenly I don't want this because I don't want this for analysis, तो मैं इसको वापस इधर भेज देती हूँ, ठीक है? So this is what there. Even if you click this add related tables, तो आपके इधर में जितने tables रहेंगे, even if you don't understand how they are connected, like for very big data warehouses, you don't know that these tables are actually how they are connected. So you can actually go here and click add related tables. तो वो जो भी उससे related tables होंगे, वो सारे यहाँ पे add हो जाते हैं. All these tables are getting added here, right? You simply have to click next. Make sure you have at least one fact table and then you can have the dimension tables because हमको 3D analysis करना है, multi-dimensional view देखना है, right? So ये हो गया. Press next. So it is showing that this is the name of your cube. अब because I am generating the view, तो मैं इसको नाम देके रखती हूँ. This is view, sales view. Okay, so this is a sales view I am generating in which I have these many things which I want to incorporate on in my cube. Say finish. So you can see on the right hand side, you will get a sales view DSV. So DSV is nothing but data source view you are getting. Okay, data source view you are getting. Okay, now after that, data source view means what? I am only So I'm only creating view. Now I actually need to create the cube for that. So coming to the next part, which is cube. So I'll click this and I'll say new cube. So you can select as many dimensions as you want, as many facts as you want. I'm going to show you other example also, जिसमें बहुत सारा जो हमारा adventures works है. So many dimensions and facts है. उसको लेके भी कैसे कर सकते हैं? I'll just show you. ठीक है? Now this is a cube which I want to create. So click next. And here it is asking, how would you like to create a cube? That means from the existing tables that you have selected, you want to create an empty cube. Empty cube मतलब उसमें कोई values नहीं रहेगा, सिर्फ आप उसको ये दे रहे हो, आप सिर्फ structure बना रहे हो उसका. Or generate tables in the data source. What you want to do? So I want to use this existing tables only which I have selected. So I'll just press next. Now cube बनाना है तो सबसे पहले वो पूछेगा आपको what are the major group tables. Major group tables are nothing but the fact tables. Okay, so it's asking you that you can read this also. Select the data source view or a diagram and then select the tables that will be used for major groups. मैंने बताया measures, metrics और facts कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं हम, right? तो fact table में ये सारी चीजें होती है. तो यहाँ से आपको पता करना है जितने भी आपने सिलेक्ट किए उसमें से पता करना है कि आपको कौन सा फैक्ट टेबल यूज करना है एनालिसिस के लिए. तो मुझे यहाँ पे मेरे पास एक ही है विच इज अ फैक्ट सेल्स, तो मैं इसको सिलेक्ट करती हूँ. इफ यू डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड आप इसको क्लिक करो तो वो आपको सजेशन देगा कि इसमें से कौन सा फैक्ट टेबल है. सो इट ऑलरेडी अंडरस्टैंड्स by looking at the structure of the table, it already understand that which is a fact table. So वो मुझे suggest कर रहा है कि ये fact table है जो आपको इसमें select करना है. So I'm selecting that. Press next. After you select fact tables, it asks you that in your fact table there can be many columns. आपने पर्सनल फॉरेन कीज है, फिर आपने बहुत सारे फैक्ट्स को एनालाइज करना है. डू यू वांट टू इंक्लूड ऑल और फ्यू? जैसे मैंने मेरे फैक्ट टेबल में मैंने 3 फैक्ट्स को एनालाइज किया था. नंबर ऑफ यूनिट सोल्स, टोटल सोल्स एंड द काउंट, सेल्स काउंट. I don't want to analyze everything. Let's say I just want to have the total sales. I want to verify only total sales. तो मैंने यहाँ पे सिर्फ total sales को क्लिक किया. If you want to have number of units sold, you can take that also. ठीक है? Let's take 2 values. तो मैंने ये दोनों लिया. Press next. Okay, now it is asking you how many dimensions you want to select for your analysis purpose. तो आपको आपका क्यूब कैसे बनाना है? 3D क्यूब बनाना है, 4D क्यूब, 5D क्यूब, कितना बनाना है? अभी मेरे पास 3 ही डायमेंशंस है तो मैंने तीनों यूज कर लिए. तो प्रोडक्ट, सो व्हाटएवर डायमेंशंस यू सिलेक्ट वो सारे आपके एनालिसिस में चले जाएंगे. तो एटलीस्ट इट सेज दैट ऑन प्रीवियस पेज ऑफ द विजार्ड यू सिलेक्टेड फैक्ट सेल्स मेजर ग्रुप. This measure group cannot be used unless one of the following tables is included in the new dimension. तो आप जो नया dimension अभी select यूज करने वाले हो उसमें किसी इसमें से कोई एक आपको डालना ही पड़ेगा. So product dimension, location, time dimension. Either select one of these tables or go back and unselect the fact table. या तो आप empty cube बना दो जिसमें आपने ना facts डाले ना dimensions डाले. But if you are not creating empty, then please let us know which is the fact table and the dimension table, right? तो यहाँ पे I want to select all. एटलीस्ट मुझे 3D क्यूब तो दिखना चाहिए 3 एक्सेस फॉर 3 थिंग्स राइट. तो प्रोडक्ट हो सकता है लोकेशन इन दैट वे. सो आई प्रेस नेक्स्ट हियर and then it shows me that okay, this is what we have selected. Do you want to finish this? That means is it fine? So I'll say okay. यहाँ पे मैं लिखती हूँ data sales cube. Okay. So the name of this is data sales cube and finish. So you will see here under cubes I will be getting the cube. So ये cube generate हो गया. And when you see cube जैसे ही generate हुआ यहाँ पे कुछ आया and यहाँ पे भी कुछ आया. Automatically it shows you what are the dimensions you want for this cube. तो ये मेरे dimensions मैंने include किए हैं इस cube के लिए. And here you see here also you will get the same schema showing what is the relationship between your dimensions and the facts. So this is my dimension, the fact table, which is connected to various dimension tables now. Right? So this is what now you created a cube. अब यहाँ पे आपको एक्चुअली आप बोलोगे मैडम क्यूब तो दिख नहीं रहा है. यहाँ पे वैसे क्यूब नहीं दिखता है बट यू गेट अ प्रॉपर एनालिसिस फॉर दैट. ओके नाउ ये सब होने के बाद में व्हाट यू एक्चुअली नीड टू डू इज गो टू द क्यूब पार्ट, राइट क्लिक दैट एंड वी डिप्लॉय इट और वी प्रोसेस दिस पार्ट. ओके सो हमको ये क्यूब को प्रोसेस करना पड़ता है. नाउ इट इज सेइंग दैट द सर्वर कंटेंट अपीयर्स टू बी आउट ऑफ डेट. व्हाट यू वांट टू डू, यू वांट टू डिप्लॉय इट. सो आई विल से यस. नाउ इसमें थोड़े से प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं, एक दो एरर्स आएंगे. आई विल जस्ट शो यू दैट एरर. The very first thing is it takes little time. That's why I have a recording to show you. If it doesn't work, then I'll just show you the recording. So it is saying me that deployment failed. There were errors during the build and deployment of this cube. So what you want to do? You want to continue? So I'll just say show continue and show me the errors. So what error it is showing, that is it is saying that it cannot be made because your server is not running. So what to do for that? So two things you have to do. Make sure when you come to SQL, you just disconnect this because here my server is not running. So connect it, and when you're connecting, connect through analysis services. So as I said, when you're installing, so now you have to add extra feature into your SQL Server instance, which is analysis service. So I'm adding this and now I'm connecting. So this is one thing which you have to do. जो मैंने add कर दिया, तो now you'll see the structure has completely changed. Now this is my analytic service instance. And if you see in the database, you can see this sales cube जो मैंने अभी create किया, वो यहाँ पे आ गया automatically. तो जब आप इधर create करते हो, तो same thing you can also access in SQL Server also. तो आपके ये जो management studio है, इसमें भी उसका ये आ गया information कि क्या source है, source कहाँ से लिया है, उसका व्यू का नाम क्या है, उसका क्यूब का नाम क्या है, ये सारी चीजें यहाँ पे भी आ जाएगी. ठीक है. So one thing is this. Again, it is giving me some problem because again it will say it is not running. So let's try to see if now it says okay. Otherwise, we'll have to do 2 more settings. Okay, again it is showing, and again it is showing me the same. It is taking me here and it's showing that it is not, your server is not running. Ensure the server is not running because this Visual Studio is not able to connect to your SQL server. तो उसके लिए हम ये जो पैकेज है जो हमने क्रिएट किया था मल्टीडायमेंशनल पैकेज, उसको राइट क्लिक करके आप जस्ट चेक इन योर प्रॉपर्टीज वेदर यू आर कनेक्टेड टू द प्रॉपर सर्वर और नॉट. तो यहाँ पे बिल्ड में यू हैव टू चेक दैट योर डिप्लॉयमेंट सर्वर एडिशन इज डेवलपर, नॉट द एनी अदर एडिशन, बिकॉज वी आर वर्किंग ऑन डेवलपर. And under deployment, make sure that your server is the server that on which you are running. तो यहाँ पे ये local host दिख रहा है, which is not the case because my server here is this. Right? So I'll just take this and I'll copy here. Okay. So this is my SQL Server instance, and this is the database on which I'm working. So sales analysis 3, press OK. Okay. Now I hope still it works. Still sometimes it gives me error saying that there is some information. Yes, Now you can see deployment completed successfully. Now it is trying to process each dimension. तो पहले ये cube को वो process कर रहा है. So we'll have to see if I get any error. Yes, it has been executed. You can see the location dimension, the product dimension, and the sales cube. Everything has been processed properly. It's saying process succeed, and you simply have to close this, that's it. Now, how will you know that even if the information is successful, how will we come to know that it is actually working? तो come to the browser part. तो ये मेरे image का मुझे browser में जाके check करना है. So come to the browser part. And it should give you this image where you can see it is showing you MDX, something related to MDX, and here it is showing you information about your sales queue. So this is the browser part which you have to see that ये आपको मिलना चाहिए, right? अगर connections proper नहीं हुए, and if you click this browser part, it shows you some kind of errors. तो एरर है मतलब आपने अभी भी आपका क्यूब प्रोसेस नहीं हुआ है, आपको मल्टी डायमेंशनल व्यूज का नहीं मिल सकता. सो मेक श्योर दैट यू आर प्रोसेसिंग प्रॉपरली सो दैट आप ब्राउजर में आके चेक करो तो आपको ये स्टेटस मिलना चाहिए. एंड दिस इज वेयर यू गेट ऑल मल्टी डायमेंशनल व्यू. We are not performing SSAS, which is not SSS, SSRS, which is actually reporting. तो reporting में आपको 3D graphs वगैरह बना सकते हो, but we are not going that detail. इतना आपको syllabus में नहीं. This is for your understanding. आपने क्या करना चाहिए? These are all steps that you need to understand. तो जैसे for example, it says drag levels or measures here to add to the query. तो यहाँ पे Visual Studio में एक चीज अच्छी है कि हमको queries नहीं लिखनी है. अगर आप यहाँ पे आओगे तो अगर आपको यहाँ पे कुछ भी एनालिसिस करना है आपके क्यूब पे तो आपको इस तरीके की क्वेरीज लिखनी पड़ती है. नाउ दिस इज योर मल्टी डायमेंशनल क्यूब, सो यू कैन नॉट राइट योर नॉर्मल क्वेरीज. You cannot write the normal queries, but in this you will have to write your multi-dimensional queries. तो यहाँ पे अगर मुझे SQL में इस क्यूब पे एनालिसिस करना है, so I will not write new query, but I will select MDX. So under MDX, it directly takes me to the analysis service that's saying that to this instance you want to connect. I'll say yes. So now it is giving me a window in which I can write my MDX queries. Okay, so यहाँ पे मुझे वो मेरी MDX queries use करनी है. For the time being, I'll just show you here how it is done. So Visual Studio में हमको queries नहीं लिखनी पड़ती है, आपके पास simple drag and drop का method option होता है, इसलिए Visual Studio थोड़ा comfortable हो जाता है. So यहाँ पे आपके पास measures है, measures में मेरे पास facts थे, facts के अंदर मैंने दो चीजें use की थी, unit sold and total sales. कोई भी आप measure drag and drop कर सकते हो. So मुझे total sales देखना है, entire total sales, right? So this came as total sales. If I execute this, it is showing the same answer which I got from my previous query, जहाँ पे मुझे पूरा ये लिखना पड़ा था ये statement to check the total sales. Sorry, कहीं तो भी हमने लिखा था ना total sales का query. यहाँ पे आपको सिर्फ करना क्या पड़ा, आपको total sales का drag कर दो, you are getting the total sales for it, right? If I want to check for a particular particular product, तो यहाँ पे मैं product में आ गई. And under product ID, you can see I have a product ID because fact table के साथ हमारा product ID है. तो ये मैंने यहाँ से उठा के इधर डाल दिया. And again, I'll execute the query. So it is showing me that I have only one product ID which I inserted one, and this is the total. अगर आपको time dimension में जाना है और आपको query wise देखना है, quarter wise, तो आप इधर time dimension डालो. So again, execute. You can see Q1, 2, 3, 4. ये time dimension से उसके according मुझे total से. Now again there are various ways, बहुत सारी चीजें इसमें कर सकते हैं. So many things like you can perform aggregation, partition, right? So many things are there, but we are not going in that detail. At least you should know how to get a multi-dimensional view. So this is how you get the multi-dimensional view. I will just show you. I don't know if it is there. So this is already one table which I had created.
Yes, yes, yes. Wait.
So as I said, see, in multidimensional queries, you write queries like this. So on your left side, you have that cube on which you are working. So ये आपका जो cube था वो upload हो गया. And on that cube, you can perform the queries. अब इसमें भी easy part क्या होता है कि you simply have to drag and drop. Okay. So I don't know if I have shown you here, but see here, now MDX is a little different where you have to tell that what you exactly want to do. So for example, here I want to select the measure, let's say sales amount on a particular column from my sales cube. So I'm saying that in my sales cube, there is one column which is amount, sales amount, which I want to select from this cube, right? Or here. So the writing way of this MDX query is little different because now you have a cube and you are working on that cube. And यहाँ पे टाइप नहीं करना पड़ेगा आपको बिकॉज इट इज ऑल्सो हेल्पिंग यू टू डू ना क्वेरी भी लिखनी है बट आप ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप कर सकते हैं तो आपको जो भी मेजर चाहिए जब उसको सिलेक्ट करके आप ड्रैग करो सो कैन सी मैंने ये सिलेक्ट करके उसको ड्रैग कर दिया था तो ऑटोमेटिकली दैट नेम केम हियर राइट एंड देन आई कैन राइट क्वेरीज विल बी सिमिलर व्हाट यू यू नो स्टडीड फॉर सिलेक्ट क्वेरीज जैसी रहती है तो सिलेक्ट में हम क्या करते हैं यू आर सिलेक्टिंग अ पर्टिकुलर कॉलम राइट एंड देन कहाँ से लेना है तो यू प्रोवाइड द नेम ऑफ द टेबल यहाँ पे हमारा टेबल नहीं है बिकॉज यहाँ पे हमारा क्यूब है तो हर चीज में क्यूब से फेच कर रही हूँ राइट सो अगर मुझे मेजर सिलेक्ट करने तो मैं मेजर लिख के उसके सामने कौन सा मेजर है दैट मीन्स आउट ऑफ दीज मेजर्स कैन बी सो मेनी तो विच मेजर यू वांट टू सिलेक्ट ऑन कॉलम्स मतलब कॉलम में आपको कौन से मेजर्स चाहिए है क्योंकि जनरली जब मैं शीट बनाऊंगी तो कॉलम्स में मुझे मेजर्स लगेंगे राइट टोटल सेल हो गया अमाउंट हो गया टैक्स हो गया तो व्हाट कॉलम्स आई वांट टू सिलेक्ट यहाँ पे जैसे टैक्स अमाउंट लिया राइट एंड रोज में आपको क्या चाहिए तो रोज में आपको क्या चाहिए तो यहाँ पे जैसे मैंने बोला कि मुझे कस्टमर एंड इंग्लिश कंट्री रीजन शुड बी ऑन द नोट तो आई वी कैन सी दैट कि अभी मैंने ये एग्जीक्यूट किया सो यू कैन सी सेल्स अमाउंट फॉर एंटायर क्यूब इट इज showing me the sales amount okay next time I'm seeing the tax amount so you can see the entire tax amount of my that cube which I have selected तो जो मैंने उस क्यूब के लिए entire tax amount होगा वो पूरा as it is at aggregate okay I am getting that result okay so now this now here I have added rows also so in rows what you want so I want customers and the under customer I want to find out them using the in English country region name right I want to execute that so basically I want all the customers from that cube so मुझे ये output मिला right if you want to perform members means actually grouping करके तो वो भी मैं आपको दिखाती हूँ so the queries are little different we are not going through these queries basically MDX के queries directly नहीं कर रहे because we have already seen the queries so you can see here it performs group wise customers को English region जो भी sorry country region है उसके wise grouping करके rows में दिखा रहा है तो it is showing me that the customers from Australia have this tax amount or the customers in Canada have this amount right so it is showing me country wise grouping of the customers and it is giving me tax amount right and there are other ways also बहुत सारे ways है we cannot just learn in 1 hour or entire you know SQL MDX query basically but just to make you aware that this is how we write actually MDX queries so very nicely you get all the results कि आपको यहाँ पे कैसे analysis करना है and you can see it is not same as what you studied for the databases or your relational tables the queries are little complicated because we are getting the information from the multidimensional other part in this is I don't know if it is there yeah coming back to the Visual Studio. So this is one other example which I want to show in Visual Studio. This is one cube which I had created. So you can see the sales amount is shown in this way. Now under product dimension, I want to check that in this cube, I had given a number of informations related to product dimension. So here it is showing me that product key, product subcategory, weight, product name, subcategory, all that information is there. So वो सारी यहाँ पे आ गई. So if I execute this, you can see it is giving me all kinds of information about all the products. कि कौन सा product का नाम है, उसका category क्या है, उसका weight क्या है, and उसका sales amount क्या है. So if you see all that information is going to just एक drag and drop किया and मुझे ये सारा information यहाँ पे as a report generate होके आ गया. So you can see. Here you get to decide about the hierarchy. So here also you can select the dimensions. You can see in whatever we are writing in query, here you get drag and drop option which you want to select. So you can see I am getting a example कि आपको क्या select करना है. On that basis you are getting. So जो पहले LB आ रहा था मुझे weight unit में, I said that I want it to be blank. So now if I say I want to have information for GB both, so it is going to give me information for both or any particular information. So you can actually, filter your queries, filter your result, and you get the information for that. So in this way, you can get multiple informations, or you can perform multiple dimensional analysis on your database, on your cube using Visual Studio. So that is what the benefit of using Visual Studio. There are many, so I'm going to keep this video so you can go through it. This is actually last time what I had taken in the class. You can just go through that if you want to perform this kind of analysis. But for the practical point of view, what I have explained just now, just close this part. So in practical, what we have to do, I want these queries, right? In the same way, don't have to do. And the steps for creating the cube. Okay, so what steps we are going to create? So I'm going to provide this updated information because I have yet not added that how to create cubes for that matter. Here is some extra information again, which is related to ETL process. तो जो मैंने बोला था कि हम जब डेटाबेस को अपलोड करते पॉपुलेट करते हैं, राइट, सो वी एक्चुअली डू इट मैन्युअली in our practical sessions, but generally what happens in business processes, you are populating the tables using ETL process. So in Visual Studio itself we use that tool to populate the fact tables. तो उसका भी मैं वीडियो दे दूंगी, and all that information is present in this writer, that how we can actually populate the tables. So you can just go through this part. This is only for your understanding. Everything is given. You can use it as it is. But for the query, the writing part for experiment number 3 will be this. You have to create your tables. You have to show which tables you created. And I want you to show me the queries that you apply on your tables to perform the analysis. So slice, dice, roll up, and drill down. These 4 operations I want you to perform and show me in your write-up. Okay. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, what about pivot?
Yes, clear. See, other thing that other than that, all that part which I have showed you, multidimensional cubes, that is for your understanding how we create multidimensional cubes in data warehouse. Though I'm not taking it in the practical part because it's a very big section, but if you want to do, you can go ahead with that. In write-up, everything I'm providing you, but you need to understand the steps, because अगर वाइवा में steps पूछ ले that आपने कैसे cubes create किए थे, if I want to perform analytics on the cube, how to create that, okay, and to understand about the difference between your normal SQL language, और जिसको हम TSQL बोलते हैं, जैसे यहाँ पे हम उसको TSQL बोलते हैं SQL में, or your MDX queries, why they are different. So MDX queries are performed on the cube itself. अब MDX queries को normal database पे आप execute नहीं कर सकते. Until and unless you don't have a cube, you cannot perform MDX queries, right? तो MDX queries तब use करते. And जैसे ही आप MDX आपका एनालिसिस सर्विस कनेक्ट करोगे, whichever cube you are connected to, on that cube you can perform your MDX queries. Okay, so MDX queries ka again it's a very vast topic because there are so many commands and you need to understand it that way. But a general way, I'm going to upload that video also to make you understand कि वो queries कैसे लिखते हैं, उस पे कैसे perform कर सकते हैं, ठीक है? So all these videos, also I think 2 videos I could not show you because of time limitation, which is about the ETL. तो ETL के भी 1-2 आइडियाज आपको पता होने चाहिए कि अगर मुझे कोई चीज एक्सट्रैक्ट करनी है, कोई कॉलम का इंफॉर्मेशन एक्सट्रैक्ट करना है, तो वो कैसे करते हैं यूजिंग ETL टूल. सो दैट आई एम गोइंग टू शो. तो मे बी आई विल जस्ट अपलोड सो यू वॉच इट एंड देन वी कैन डिस्कस इन द नेक्स्ट प्रैक्टिकल. फाइन.
Yes, ma'am.
आपको करना क्या है?
Yes,
व्हाट यू हैव
ma'am.
टू डू फॉर दिस प्रैक्टिकल?
4 operations.
We have to
4
create
operations.
tables and perform 4 operations on them.
Yes, you have to create tables. जो हमने already, I assume that you already did it in experiment number 2. Now
Yes,
what you will do is you will use these tables. You will perform those queries to show slice dice operation. Other thing that you have to do, you have to practice your Visual Studio IDE to generate the cube. तो आपको cube बनाने के steps पता होने चाहिए, ठीक है? जब तक क्यूब नहीं बनेगा तब तक एनालिसिस नहीं होता है मल्टीडायमेंशनल, तो आपको क्यूब बनाना आना चाहिए. सो यू जस्ट revise this thing, so later on in next practical we can just I'll just ask the questions on that. Fine. Chalo. Now, I think I'll just take the names. I think only those are there. No one new is there. So 38 has already left the meeting. So usko absent. Let me just check. 38.
38B2 का है.
अच्छा हाँ बराबर है उसका रोल नंबर यहाँ का नहीं है तो इधर क्यों आया था फाइन so 51 is there
Yes, miss.
okay then 55 is there yes 56 is there
Yes, ma'am.
60 is there yes
Yes, ma'am.
61
Yes, ma'am.
62
Yes, ma'am.
63
Yes, ma'am.
68
Yes, ma'am.
I'm 54.
66 wait re baba 66
Yes, ma'am. Present.
okay 67
Present.
69
Present, ma'am.
54 Kunal अभी बोलो ना यस जब ये ले रही थी तो तभी नहीं
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
हाँ
मैम 55.
हाँ 55 नहीं 55 तो हो गया ना रोहित 54 हो गया एंड 70 तस्नीम ओके आर यू देयर तस्नीम तस्नीम आर यू देयर
Yes.
हाँ ओके ठीक है चलो थैंक यू सो मच प्रोसीड फॉर योर लंच ब्रेक थैंक यू
Hello, ma'am. Hello.
हाँ हाँ हूँ मैं बोलो
मैम वो एक डाउट था